Thank you all for coming to a 5:20 p.m. session. Who here is the first time you're at Data and AI Summit? Whoa.
Impressive.
What about second time? 3 or more?
Wow.
All right, there's some of us. Well, it's a great conference, and I hope that it's just the beginning at this point. And while it's an evening session, I promise that we'll have the most pictures of pets out of any other talk across this conference in this session. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about how PetSmart is using AI decisioning to drive really personalized, effective, meaningful experiences with all of their customers. You can go next slide. So I'm just as a quick intro, I'm Tejas, co-founder and co-CEO of Hightouch. Many of you all may know Hightouch as a big partner of Databricks. One of our core products is this idea of a composable CDP, or like a customer data platform that allows marketing teams to access all their data, build audiences, build journeys across ads and emails and every sort of customer touch point, while all the data remains in Databricks. But today we're going to be chatting a little bit about our new product that we launched last year and it's already getting a lot of traction, called AI decisioning, and particularly how it's being used in practice to have marketing AI agents. So I'm based here in San Francisco and very into all things data. Bradley, you want to give a quick intro?
Hi, Bradley Breuer, and I lead marketing at PetSmart. I like to think as early adopters of AI decisioning, as we were really looking...
And Hightouch.
And Hightouch for that matter, as we were really looking to tap into and leverage our rich data assets to bring greater scale, bring greater repeatability to personalized marketing. So we're excited to take you through a little bit of that journey. We'll kind of go back and forth here, and if I miss anything, just jump in and let me know. But we're on a mission to help everyone experience more joy with pets. And at PetSmart, we really want to be the favorite pet retailer, that destination that when you have to take care of your pets, that PetSmart is that place that you go. We have almost 1,700 stores in North America, and our business is really diverse, right? We not only offer that merchandise to care for your dog or your cat, but we have a large hobby section for specialty pets, for birds, reptiles, fish, and you name it. We can help your full pet household. We also have services, a grooming salon, a hotel, training. Many of our stores have veterinarians. We also have stores that have pop-up vaccine clinics. And we are an omnichannel retailer, right? So we fulfill store orders, but we also do buy online, pick up in store, auto ship for those of you that want to sort of set it and forget it to make sure that your pet's food or consumables are arriving in a timely fashion every single month. We sort of do it all. We see ourselves as that complete solution for our pet parents who are looking to take care of their pets on a journey, right? There's lots of highs in pets and lows, right? People need us to celebrate birthdays for their pets, and they need us when their pet's experiencing a health problem, or they're aging, or they have questions about how to create the right behaviors or solutions for their pets. And we like to be there in all of those moments of joy and all those moments of frustration, to really make sure that we're setting up pet parents for success. A big part of our success and a big part of how we come to market with pet parents is our loyalty program. We're really proud of our Treats Rewards program. We relaunched this just over a year ago, last April. And we now have 75 million members. That's almost every pet household in America. How many people here have pets? Oh, good showing. That's probably, you've probably been in a PetSmart if you've had pets. It's often the place where people start their journey, where they go to be successful with their hobby or with their pet. So we've got 75 million members, and 94% of our sales, and this number is actually pushing 95% this quarter, are tied to a member. And that's really important for us because we've spent years now collecting data about our members and really having great coverage of their full life cycle, of their full pets. It's billions of points of data. That all lives in Databricks. That's going to kind of get to the story here and why we're here. But Pet parents tell us a lot about their pets. They tell us their birthday, or they tell us their gotcha day. They tell us the name of their pets. And then we also see all their transactions. We see what they're buying for their pets. We see the services that they're engaged in, what training courses they've taken from us. And then we infer a lot about our pets, right? Our pet parents give us a lot of signals in the data, where they're clicking, what they're buying, the content that they're engaging with. We have a lot of signals that let us also help us do things that infer things. So our data science team, John here in the second row leads that team, and they infer a lot. They can predict a lot about when people need to replenish, where they might have an interest. We look at behaviors that are clues and indicators of high value future potential. And so all that data, the stuff that's told to us explicitly, the stuff that we observe, and the stuff that we infer or predict, is a really powerful set of data. And we really think about data as having a responsibility and an obligation to pet parents, that if they're going to give us that data, 95% of their sales, they're going to tell us who they are at the checkout. We feel a huge obligation to use that data to serve pet parents better, to make it a better experience for them. And I always like to position it that way because, yes, there will be positive business outcomes from serving your customer better, but we really fundamentally believe that if we serve the customer better with the data that they've given us or that we've inferred about them, they're going to have a better experience, they're going to have more joy with their pets, they're going to have healthier, happier pets, and ultimately that will help us drive the business outcomes that we are looking for. So loyalty program, very important to us in terms of capturing data, having that complete picture. And then also very important, the obligation that we share with all of our team to make sure that we're using it to serve the pet parent better. We come to life across a couple of channels, our owned channels in email marketing, push notifications, SMS. We have a really big focus on getting people engaged with our app so we can serve them with push notifications, staying engaged with email. I think if you run an email marketing program, like you've seen the declines, like it is becoming a tougher channel. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of investment in marketing around pet. We're really trying to use these channels to really break through all of that noise, whether the noise be created by just the digital world being very saturated, the marketing investment being very huge in the category of pet. We use these channels to really try to break through. But also say that a good chunk of our media is powered by first-party data. So even our paid channels, we are using this data to really make sure that we're connecting with customers, talking to customers, having a sort of a full surround sound experience for that customer as we come to life across all of the channels of marketing. And I'll talk a little bit more about our paid channels later as we think about some of the places that we are going. I mentioned it before, but our website and mobile app are both really important places for us to connect with our customers. Again, you see declines in things like email marketing, and even in your paid channels, you're fighting harder to capture the attention. But when we get people to our website, when we get people to our mobile app, these are incredible connection points. And I like to think of the mobile app as a place to stay connected between your visits. When you walk into a store and you transact with us, or when you come online and you transact with us, when you leave that experience, your next transaction is truly up for grabs. You can get pet stuff pretty much anywhere now. I mean, the places I see pet stuff is kind of crazy. And so the mobile app for us is a great place to engage with the customer between their visits, to remind them maybe of what's upcoming and they need to purchase, to remind them of their loyalty and thank them for their loyalty, to give them a set of offers that are targeted and tailored to them that they can go through and activate, get excited for, motivated by that next shopping trip. But we really think of that as that we have to earn each transaction from our customers because this space is more competitive than it has ever been before. And so we use these ways of connecting with our customers to ensure that we capture all of those transactions. Really, there's sort of 4 key elements to what we're trying to do, and this will lead us to some of the technology, I promise. I know that's why you're here. But the first I've touched on, this idea of increased personalization. I gave a much briefer talk this morning, and I talked a little bit about how we've been talking about personalization marketing for a really long time. For my 20-year career, I've made different versions of slides that talk about personalization. And we've done a lot. We've done a lot. We've built a lot. But what we struggle with often is scale, repeatability, having that running against millions of customers every single day. And so it's a goal that we've had for a long time, and I think that we've done just an okay job of delivering on it. As we start to think about what we're doing with AI and with AI decisioning, I think what you're going to see is I truly believe that we are at a tipping point where AI is going to let us fully deliver on this promise of giving people personalization. We've always had the data. We've always had the aspiration. We're now beginning to get the tools to let us drive better personalization that'll do it at scale, repeatability for millions of customers every single day. We think a lot about that surround sound experience, so the cross-channel experiences, how we can get customers to see the messaging that we're putting out at multiple touch points. All of our research, all of our studies, all of our econometric modeling would suggest that if you see a message in multiple places, in multiple channels that is driving you towards our objective, our conversion and our outcomes are better, we're serving that customer better. So I don't ever think to believe that marketing will be so perfectly orchestrated that I could draw a beautiful customer journey that everyone will follow. But I do believe it's important that we show up for our customers in surround sound with a message that's supportive of them on sort of their life cycle. Which leads me to the next point, which is that we really have to think about the customer life cycle. I said it before, there's a lot of ups and downs that we have in pet. A pet that's not healthy, a pet that is having a birthday. There's all this dimension and complexity, especially as you get into things like reptiles and fish. Those are harder hobbies that you really have to have a deep understanding of how to care for the pet on that journey. And we want to be there. Again, we want to be there at all of the highs, all of the lows, all of the things that are happening in the pet's life, to be seen as that authority. One of the things about being a specialty retailer is that people see you for your expertise. They believe that if they walk in or if they come to your website, that we're going to be able to really help them. And so we want to tailor our communications, how we come to life along that customer journey. And that's important to us, is hearing the signals, seeing the signals, and then having the tools and the technology to react to those signals in near real time. And then the fourth, a lot of what brings us all here to San Francisco this week, is the idea of powering our offense with our data science and AI. Again, we sit on this massive amount of data. We've been entrusted with this data from our customers, and we are starting to begin to see how using that data, how using data science, how using AI is truly transforming marketing, both for the customer and what they're experiencing, but also the outcomes and the commercial business that we are driving as a result of that. I said it earlier, we have a very diverse, complex business. I've just given 3 examples here. Our core merchandise, your dog, your cat, your fish, your bird, we sell it all. We sell turtle eye drops, actually. So we've got a lot. If you need it, we have the widest and best assortment in pet, and that's what you're going to find with us. Every kind of flavor of food, every kind of ailment, we're going to be able to help fix your pet if there's a problem. Our grooming business. If you heard me this morning, I talked a little bit about how we've deployed AI to drive trial of our grooming business. Again, if you trust us with your pet for a couple of hours where we groom them and they come out looking awesome on the other side, there's a real emotional loyalty that builds over time. That level of trust that you'd leave your pet with us. You leave your pet with us to be trained or to stay overnight in our hotel or for a day of doggy day camp. All of these things are unique propositions where, in a world where we're competing rigorously with online pure play, this is a differentiator for us, right? That you can come in and be groomed in our facility. You can come in for training. You can address those early behavioral problems or behavioral problems that come up over time. Owning a pet isn't always easy, and so we have these solutions that are meaningful to pet parents, but that also truly drive long-term loyalty. We see that once you've come in to see us for 3 grooms, you're much more likely to stay. You've built a relationship with that groomer. I joke, when I find a good barber, I'm not going to leave that barber. And there's a lot of similarity in people who believe that grooming is an important part of their pet's routine. And so again, stickiness, loyalty. We know these customers visit us more frequently. They spend more with us, and so it's an important element to our business and growing long-term loyalty. I'll touch briefly on sort of 5 other priorities, and this is really to do a click down from this morning's presentation where we talked about Salon. But really, in the early stages of our use of AI, there's really 5 key areas that we've focused in on. The first is around offer activation. The best value you can get from PetSmart is if you open our app and go to the Offers tab and activate offers. Those offers, if you activate and participate and qualify, will give you bonus points. It will give you a lot of value as part of our loyalty program. And we know that as soon as a customer activates an offer, they join a club of customers whose sales are growing much faster than people who are not activating our offers. And so we are really keen to drive this behavior, not only because it makes a more valuable customer who's more likely to come back and who's more likely to spend more, but we're delivering actually more value into that customer's wallet. We're giving them points to encourage them to come back for a return visit, and they're realizing real value. So the more that we can drive offer activation, the better. And this is something that we've trained the AI to help us understand what will get customers motivated to activate offers. Auto ship. It's a big commitment, right? To sign up for repeat delivery, to get that cat litter once a month delivered to your door, to get cat cans every 2 weeks, to get dog food once a month. Big commitment. So it takes a fair amount of persuading to get someone to sign up for that commitment. And so we need AI to help us think through all of the ways that we can get that commitment, that we can sign people up for auto ship. And again, it's hard. It's a commitment. And so the AI is working really hard to figure all of that out for us. Our salon, we know so many people have given us a signal that they have a dog, they buy dog food from us, but they've never stepped foot into our salon. How do we actually encourage them to book an appointment to trial our salon? Again, if I have a salon customer who's buying food from us, this becomes a very sticky and valuable customer to us. And we think it's a great service and a great value to use our salon for whether it's a haircut or a bath or even just a simple nail grind. That's something that it's a big commitment. It's something that you're asking the customer to put a lot of trust in you, right? Giving your dog to someone for a couple of hours and having them, cut their hair. There's a lot of persuasion that goes into making that happen, and so it's why we've looked at AI to help us in that journey. Two last ones, lapsed customers. Every retail business has a whole set of customers who have not returned in the last 12 months. A lot of good reasons why in the pet industry, but also just the artifact of competition, right? Like I said, every transaction's up for grabs, and we're in a fierce competitive battle with all the people that sell pet. And so we lose customers, and everyone knows that that's the case. But we also think we have the right to win them back. We really feel compelling. We have a compelling offering across many things that we do, and there's lots of different ways to win people back. And so again, we're using the AI to really think about what is the most compelling way to win these customers back. And then the last one is that we know that most of our customers have more than one pet in their household. And we still see that some of them only buy from us for one of their pets. There's a surprising number of people who come to us for dog very routinely, but are clearly buying for cats somewhere else. And there's all sorts of reasons why, but we of course want people to spend the majority, if not the entire pet wallet in PetSmart. And so we've got people who've given us signals, right? So you may be buying dog food from us, but you also have a cat listed on your profile. We're going to work really hard to invite you into that other business so that you can get your full solution for pet, and that when you're thinking about shopping for your pets, you're coming to PetSmart because we have given you something valuable and compelling to make you want to come to our store or shop on our website or app. So where did this lead us, right? So we've got all these objectives, we've got all these priorities, right? We talk about declining engagement in marketing, the competition investing more, but we also have to grow our business, right? We really want to make sure that we're growing our business. And marketers are famous for the marketing calendar and the marketing campaign, and it launches on a Thursday, and the assets look beautiful head to toe, they're perfect, and that is part of marketing. You still have to have a marketing calendar, but you start to reach your limits. You start to reach your limits when you really want to have a data-driven offense for marketing. The calendar starts to have its limits. And what it does is it starts to reflect what your business priorities are, which is not a bad thing. It's good when marketers are connected to business. But it lacks the customer lens. It truly lacks the idea that we are out there to use data to serve customers. And so, part of our transition in this world of AI, and we are still very much on the journey, is to think about not leaning so much into our calendar, but leaning into our customer and serving their needs. The calendar itself, especially if you work on a quarterly or even a monthly campaign cadence, the learning loop is very slow. You don't have the opportunity to get learnings quickly, iterate, and grow. And so we, of course, believe that reading customer feedback very quickly and adapting and adjusting in real time is how you drive better outcomes for customers and for business. And then it also gives us limited variance. If every email or every piece of marketing is designed bespoke head to toe, and there's a ton of thought and energy and dedication that goes into that, you might think it looks really good, but you limit yourself in how much variation you have. And you limit your chances. You limit your chances of getting it right. And you really do need to have a full library of content with lots of variance to be constantly testing and learning. And that's what you're going to see as part of our journey here. And so, we talked about this in marketing for a long time, of going from this one-to-many to a one-to-one. And I always like to say that, again, I could have made this slide 10 years ago, because people have been talking about one-to-many to one-to-one for a long time. But I do truly believe, and I've seen it in the data, and I've seen it through our pilots, that we are now at a point where this is going to be possible at scale with great repeatability and with great relevance to our customer. And I think it's the relevance piece that I feel strongest about, because past we've done a lot of dynamic personalization and driven content through data, but the quick learning and feedback loop and experimentation that AI provides us is going to significantly, and is already for our business, significantly creating a step change in how this works, and how much closer we can get to this, and how much faster we can get to this. And so for us, it delivers on that promise to our customers to use data for good and serving their pets. So in this journey, I think I'm going to hand it off to Tejas now, but we partnered with Hightouch on this journey of, we are using them for their composable CDP. We're an early customer of that product. And then, of course, we took on the AI decisioning because we were very keen in what we were doing there. I'd say one of the things that's to our advantage, and I think we'll talk about it in a few slides, is that we have Databricks with all of our data. Hightouch sits right on top of that. And so, I talk about this as like, we really had the tools at our disposal to make this work and to move quickly on this. In some ways, it's the people side of things that move even slower than the actual tech side of things. But anyway, I'll hand it to Tejas to take it away here.
Thank you, Bradley, for all that context on the business and the journey on personalization up till now. So on AI decisioning, just a high level on what this technology really is. The idea is to really allow marketing teams, business teams, product teams to take a more goal-based approach to how you're engaging with your customer. So a very material example. You may be able to use traditional data science or predictive models to determine things like, is a customer likely to be churning? Or are they purchasing less often than lately? Or is their interest in your brand going up, for example? But then there's a question of like, what do you do with that information, right? Should you send them an offer? Should you send them marketing that educates them on everything you can do with your brand? Or in the opposite case, you might find that a customer is super happy with your product offering, and there's a question of, what's the next product offering that you should send to them, and how should you message that to them? Because lots of customers like different products for different reasons. That's where decisioning comes in, right? There's lots of small decisions to be made. What message you send the customer, what offer, if any, what amount is that offer, at what time, on what channel, and how we found even the most data-driven marketing teams like PetSmart that have data science and customer analytics functions within them doing things, is that you still have to do a lot of experimentation to find the right way to message each customer, right? You might try one strategy, run an A/B test with a different strategy, and it can be a laborious process to figure out that right answer of what's the overall best way to message each customer. So the idea of AI decisioning is that instead of having to run all those experiments or play with all those rules to figure out the best way to act on your data or data science, is that you can actually tell a reinforcement learning engine a clear goal. So drive more engagement in my app, or drive customers to my grooming salon, or drive subscriptions on our auto ship offering, and give it a bank of actions, right, an action space of offers or messages or anything like that that you can send customers, and have it actually iterate and experiment to figure out the right treatment for every single customer to maximize that goal and continuously learn. So this technology is something that has been used in different flavors, or different flavors of this technology have been around for some time. If you use something like Netflix, right, you have a feed of suggestions of movies that are really tailored for you and based on your data, and continuously adapting and learning based on your interaction with the application. Same with Spotify, right, that next best song algorithm, or the home screen of recommendations. And one of our inspirations for building a marketing platform here around AI decisioning was actually a blog that Duolingo put out many years ago around the idea of how they built this like autonomous experimentation engine with contextual multi-armed bandits and reinforcement learning on top of their data platform at Duolingo that actually determines when to send push notifications to customers and how many and which ones, et cetera. And really how we were thinking about it at Hightouch was, how do we bring this capability to all marketing teams in all industries and really make it accessible so that everyone doesn't have to kind of build this internally, and so that we can build a best-in-class platform over time that incorporates multiple types of models and more functionality. So with that said, I'll pass it back to Bradley to talk about some of the aspects that were important to him about a solution to do AI decisioning and to bring AI to the marketing teams at PetSmart when he was first kind of looking around and making that decision.
Thank you. So, what I've found is that there's a lot of data science, machine learning, AI that you can be doing out there in the world, and that really actually marketing has been taken advantage of for many years. And so you got to get that right. You got to have the AI really being powerful, really trained on good data, having good models. But what this tool does for us is it gives us a user interface. It gives the marketer a place to collaborate with the AI. So this was really important to us because we needed to be able to connect all of that great AI into marketing execution. And so this UI, this is just a flavor of where the user can go to set guardrails, to provide metadata, to set objectives, and then to read results. And so the UI really helped us with that quite a bit. And one thing I'll say is that early on, a lot of times people are concerned about transparency. They're worried of an executive calling up and saying, well, why did I get this? And the reality is we don't get that. But if you have that fear, or like many brands do, you get a lot of transparency into why a decision was taken, what data was used, and why it was taken. And in some ways, it's just kind of interesting to go back and track at an individual level why decisions were being made. But the UI really lets us collaborate. It's a command center, so to speak, of how we're deploying the AI effectively. I said this earlier, but I can't emphasize enough that having Databricks with all of our data, all of our modeling, all of the work that John and his data science team do in one place, Hightouch sitting right on top of that. We didn't have one of those projects that was like, let's take 6 months and ship all the data to platform A and then have all kinds of feeds that are broken and things not working. It's all in one place, and so the speed to market for us in getting AI decisioning out was very fast. And for a marketer who cares more about commercial outcomes and driving the business, there wasn't a whole lot of drama around, is the data right? Where's the data? We don't have this data, because we were in this one single environment. As we look forward, one of the things that we're thinking about is not just these individual use cases that I've talked about, but how AI decisioning can begin to help us orchestrate all of our communications and really think about not just a whole bunch of competing agents going after business objectives, but having all these agents working together to think about how we orchestrate things better.
And so a couple slides ago, you saw the UI where marketing teams can basically build an agent for every use case, right? Maybe one agent that's helping on first to second purchase, or another one on offer activation, or another one on driving customers to a cross-sell like auto ship or grooming salon. When you're at a business at scale, like everyone's business is here, there's competing priorities, right? And a customer could qualify for multiple of those business initiatives or agents. So something we've built in this platform is the idea of global decisioning, is what we call it. So local decisioning is optimizing the the offer or the message or the time per initiative. But global decisioning is kind of this air traffic control of like which initiative should receive how many messages or a message at all. And that can be configured through a mix of rules as well as the ML looking at the customer's propensity balanced with the weight of that outcome. So you can say a certain initiative is really important to our business, right? Like a new product sale may be so much more important than a repeat purchase, as an example.
So I think I want to leave you all today with just an example, because I think rooting ourselves in actual results and examples is very helpful, because I really became a believer of this when I started to see lines separating, where test and control or test and holdout, we saw lift happening. That's when I really became a believer that this was going to have a meaningful impact on our marketing teams, marketing strategies, and customers. So we did a goal. It said sign up for AutoShip. Like I said, this is a big commitment, right? You're saying, yeah, I'm committing to you that we're going to do business together for the foreseeable future, and you're going to deliver a package to my door once a month, once every 2 weeks. Big commitment. We set that goal for the AI. We then used the goal. We talked about and gave it the audience and all the data. We gave it a whole bunch of content and set some guardrails. And then what happens is that the AI decisioning really starts to deliver content to customers, learn from that, evolve, and do it better each time. And this morning I talked a little bit about our salon use case where, first couple of weeks, AI was delivering exactly what the humans were delivering in all the years prior. But after that time, you start to see a lift. And it's just fascinating to watch what is going on before your very eyes, which is that the AI is learning what resonates with customers, and it's adapting, and it's getting us to a better place. And you start to see the lift grow. And this is where you're like, I really believe that this technology is going to have a meaningful impact on our customers. This simplifies it, right? I'm showing you 3 examples of how content is put together just to show you the range of emotional appeal on the left, all the way down to convenience or somewhere in the middle, sort of the trust factor. But really, you should think of this as thousands of permutations that are taking all of the elements, things like audience, time of day, content, copy, and really trying to test out what's the right formula. Like in this example, I really like this because the element in yellow is just timing. And what the model is telling us here is that it made that decision because it's still learning. It's still exploring. Some of these other things, it's already kind of adjudicated what they think is best for the customer through all this learning along the way. But this test or this particular piece of content was delivered at a different time of day, and we're still exploring what's the best. In the salon example I shared this morning, we really started to learn. Traditionally marketing likes to put a big push on Thursday and Friday because they want people to shop on the weekends. What we learned is that booking an appointment in the salon, much better to do it on Monday and Tuesday because people are sort of planning their week. They're planning ahead for that kind of big commitment of leaving your pet for a few hours. And so all of this, we learned a lot about copy. We learned a lot about imagery. And we feed all that information back to our creative teams. We feed all that information back to say, it's not that this is a golden rule now. It's that we're going to lean into this particular copy or this particular way of saying it. I need 12 more variants of that. And you know what? You can slow down on this type of variant because it's just not resonating with our customer. And so the learning that happens is both just happening with the AI and getting better and better and better, but we're also taking those moments to go look, take a step back and say, okay, how can we inform our creative teams? How can we inform our marketing teams? All the way up to how paid media comes to life, what we might say in a commercial. There is a lot that you learn along the way in service of your customer. You got to have the numbers slide, of course. So this resulted in a 13% incremental lift in AutoShip transactions. That probably doesn't have a ton of meaning to you, but I'll say is that in a business our scale, this is a very meaningful impact. In fact, a lot of times I only need to see a 4 or 5% increase in lift at my scale to deliver really outsized impacts to the business. And it's really exciting to be sitting at the table with a P&L owner and they see what we're doing and tie it directly back to our activities and know that we're contributing to driving their growth. I said this morning, we've long wanted to be able to use all of our data. We've long wanted to be more effective and more relevant to the consumer. And we've all wanted to be able to tie what marketing delivers back to the business. And with AI decisioning, I think we're closer to that than ever before, which is super exciting. Just a couple of things that are next, and then we'll open it to questions. We need to expand this to more campaigns. We need to be doing more of the air traffic control. And that's about getting the humans behind this motivated. There's a big change element in getting marketing teams embracing this technology, seeing it as the future, and taking it and running with it. We want to expand our channels. So you saw that we're largely focused on owned channels, but paid channels play a critical role in driving consumer engagement and business outcomes. And then it's in the nature of AI to optimize. We have to continue to feed the AI agents more content, more variability, more offers, and let it just continue to work hard and optimize. And we believe that this will all come together in our Treats Rewards program, delivering us better outcomes, a better loyalty program, and hopefully our goal is to bring more pets and their families joy. And so I think that's all we have for today. Maybe a plug from Tejas here at the end, and then we can open it for questions.
Yes, thank you. So if you want to chat more about this technology or the product or use cases, or how does it fit into your stack with integrating with different marketing tools or product experiences, come to our booth 517, probably tomorrow at this point, or just come up here afterwards and we can answer more questions. Or I think we have a few minutes remaining for live questions too.